is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are feeling good. We got another brand new Monday, another brand new week, and another brand new high in the markets. We just cannot hold these bulls back. But we got Alan House. Good morning to you. Good morning to Amy, Anna, Andy, Bill, Daniel's in the house. Good morning to Jeff, Joe, JT, Keith, Lauren, Lucian, Martina, Mike, Natalie, Peter's in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Rick, Rob, Teresa. Good morning. We got Tim in the house. Good morning to you. All my people out in YouTube land. Good morning to B Jollo, my lurkers in the background, just hanging out. Not gonna say nothing all day. It's okay. I still love you. Hit that like and subscribe button. But yeah, we got the EU deal. So the weekend was mostly flat, kind of again just quiet on news last week. A little bit quiet on news. Couple earnings that came out, a couple decent ones that people were watching. Other than that, quiet week till Sunday, and then Sunday we just started to lift off on the the EU deal. I don't know why I can't. It's Monday, but yeah, the EU deal. So that got supposedly passed and agreed upon, and we now again you could agree with you like the tariffs, you hate the tariffs. It is what it is. But in a business sense, you businesses now know kind of the playing ground that they can play on, and I think that is positive for the markets. I think it was a good deal for Trump. I think that is a good deal for the U.S. at least. But SPY is gapping up to all-time highs. We were a little bit higher than this after hours. We started pulling back, I think a tad, but for the most part, we remain pretty fairly strong. Again, just retest gap after massive, massive move that we've had without any real pullbacks. I got to ask you guys a question. If you guys are absolutely comfortable with this market, just going completely bullish, and you think we're gonna just keep on cruising, type of one in chat. If if you are getting a little tired of winning and you're getting a little nervous on the long term perspective of things, of like, hey, we probably have to pull back, type of two in that chat. I need to know where you guys are at. This is gonna be extremely important for where we're at. We got some ones, some two, 1.5. All right, so we got some ones still. We have a lot of twos though. No, we're going higher. That means we're going higher. I gotta wait for like 90% of you guys to be like, no, I just throw the towel in on the bear side of things, and we're just going long because then that's probably about the time. All right, so that means we're going we're going more bullish from here. There can't be any signs of bears left, I think, for this market to actually get a turn. There's no way. Lucius is not tired of going up, but it will pull back at some point. Yeah, we'll pull back at some point. I just don't know where. I saw some people throwing around on Twitter. 666 would be the spot. So we'll see if we get Beelzebub Bob to bring this market down. Everything else is not working. But yeah, look for today's support 637.54, and if we could hold it, we stay above it, then today is not the day for you number twos. Only only the ones, the 1.5 on the fence. But yeah, I don't know. Everybody I'm seeing still is, for the most part, I'm seeing a shift where everyone's like, okay, we'll just keep going bullish, just keep going bullish. And I think we have to get to that point where just everyone's way too comfortable, and then you get that gap down. So I don't know. Too many twos. Too many twos still. I think we go higher. Qs, nice little gap up. 2027, we'll have a pullback maybe. Yeah, I don't know. There is a few things on the agenda for this week that could give us a pullback if we're going to get it. Be an interesting week for some puts. I don't know until the information's out. But one is I think we have Trump talking to China, so that would be a big deal if they can agree to something. But if that falls through, maybe get some negativity in the market. August 1st is the supposedly the actual day tariffs go into place, so we'll see what countries are left. I haven't seen any negotiation with penguins come in yet, so they're still out there. We'll see, but August 1st is the deadline for all the other countries. We'll see if anything else comes in this week. We have a ton of earnings. A lot of the big names reporting earnings this week. So if they start putting out bad guidance, if they're sitting in the two camp as opposed to the one camp, that might mess the market up a little bit. And then the other one is we got Jerome Powell this week too, where we know Trump just met with Jerome Powell. He's also been saying he thinks he's going to do the right thing, and we'll get the lower interest rates. I'm not so sure. The market's not so sure. The market's got like a 2% chance that we actually get a rate hike. So then you have, if that does not happen, I can't imagine Trump just kind of stays quiet on that one. He probably wants to tweet and put out some truths and kind of reignite the Jerome Powell saga, which we saw before. The market was taking dips on the firing of Jerome Powell. So a lot of things could build up this week. So for all you ones out there, I don't know. I don't know. We got the Qs. Big gap up on this one. Again, retest gap, major retest gap, and it's 566.29, but we are gapping into all-time highs. I've got no levels above us. There's nothing to even, if we go higher, good luck. We'll just pick a number and pick it out of a hat, I guess, because I don't know. Lucia says, I think the China deal will determine a pullback or not. I think that's going to be a factor of it. Yeah, but then we could also see the no China deal, or we're negotiating, progress is being good, and then let's give them another 30 days, 60 days, 90 days to figure this out. And just the pause will kind of push the markets. A tweet saying we have positive negotiations will just push the markets. So there's a lot of tools in Trump's belt where the market just doesn't care. It's just rather be bullish. I think the SPY will have a 10% pullback to where we're about now. So you're saying we're going to pull back to where we're at now. That means we got to go a lot higher. All right, we'll see. Bitcoin, BTC, USD. What did you do this weekend? Yeah, I think I was in a hood trade on this day, and this is when we were talking about these levels. We got 117, 302. Those are the big levels that Bitcoin has to stay above. So obviously, as soon as I got into that hood trade, we started to break that down. By the end of the day, bulls just rampaged back. We got pretty close to where we had some kind of support, 113, 719. Of course, the bulls just too strong. We can't even get to the supports anymore. It's just not feasible. Other than that, great hammer, incredible volume, fantastic close yesterday. So Saturday was more of a inside day from it. Good close yesterday. I think being a little delivered from some of the EU talks, and today so far inside day, but phenomenal close. Really good to stay above this candle. Even though we didn't quite make that first retest spot, the bigger one now is 115,480, but that puts all this major support of this 117,300 zone back intact, and then puts in a couple of the support levels before we even hit that. So right now we're sitting in a good place on Bitcoin. Look for 118, 153. That's your first spot. We start breaking through that. Now we got to start talking those other levels. But right now, it looks like inside. We've been here for really going back to, I think, July 12th. So lots of consolidation if we could actually break out. And that volume might help us do it. We'll see. DraftKings, DKNG. They have earnings August 6th. So we got some time on this one. Great looking gap. Love to see us get above all of that last previous consolidation. We had a potential double top, even though we did put in some higher highs on DraftKings. I think I'd be worried about the target for now, but I'd want to be bullish. Maybe we can get a small pullback. I have support somewhere sitting around 44.81, so maybe a little bit of a pullback first. That would get us better risk reward up into, I think, our next resistance, which is 45.91. And then after that, an okay resistance. Not that I think the first one, that 45.91 is more impressive than this one, but we still have this 46.08 here. Anything past that, so if we can get past it, there's really nothing stopping us back to like 48.58. So that could give us a lot of room. I got one, maybe two resistance in the way, but if we get a small little pullback, that would probably be decent. Let me scroll this one a tad higher on the list for today. I gotta get this thing out of the way. There we go. There we go. Now we can move it. Rock says target is $150. Rock, why don't we just stick with that 100 for now? Let's just stick with the 100. Let's see. We gotta do baby steps, I think. MRVL. Tim says today. Today is if we hit 100, I mean 150 is pretty much there. We got Marvel. Nice little gap up on this one as well. This one just trades like a weirdo. Other than that, you got 74.58 is your little bit of a retest spot. If you do want to do a full-on retest of Friday, you're looking more for 74.33 to the way higher. This is a pretty good gap. You're going to have that 200 EMA sitting at 75.46, so a little resistance there. And then your next spot, 75.65. Anything past that, you're probably looking for like 76.60, big resistance, 77.23 if we get there, and then I think up to this $80.86 level. So kind of sprinkled with resistance on the way up. This is also a retest gap, but it looks pretty good for today. Nothing too crazy. Even that pullback, and then the last couple days lighter on volume. So if you think we can get through that 200, that's where your head's got to be at on that one. That's the only way. No resistance at 200. We just keep plowing through it, and looks good. I think it'll slightly longer term. I kind of like it more for a swing than a day trade, but that's if I can get a, bigger pullback to 74.39. When's our earnings? We got some time, August 21st, so plenty of time on that one. Let's see, TTD, TTD, and then why can't I got to keep? Hold on, let me move this YouTube up. I can only see some of them. There we go. All right, TTD, good looking gap up here. Earnings right around the corner. What did they do in the last earnings? Last earnings was a monster miss with a gap up. They came in with 40 million to the higher side. I think that bar was probably really low for TTD on those earnings. We talked about that one going into it. Other than that, we got August 7th, so we got about 2 weeks until earnings. That looks like my favorite gap so far today. It's still a retest gap. Um, I don't have any real resistance on this one. And this thing could open and would just plow right through this 85.96, but that would be my support. See if we can get a little pullback. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days already of buying, but getting past this candle, more importantly, this candle had all the volume to it, surprisingly. But we have one candle from July 17th, tons and tons of volume. This one does too, have decent volume. We're now above both of those. Maybe a high wave candle out of the gate. We're bullish on all time frames. There's not much. Every other stock had a little bit of potential resistance. This one, not so much. Uh, I've got 114.37. I don't think that we can get anywhere close to that today. The next big resistance, I think, takes us into maybe this 89.97 zone. So that's about $3 higher. We're right now we're above all that bigger, longer term volume, which is good. And then I think you got spots maybe on a crazy day, 93.93 today, and then eventually like this 97.90 is huge. And then we get back to that 100 range. If we get 100, there's zero stopping us to get to that 119, 120 zone. So I kind of like it to the upside from here, unless the earnings want to come out and just crush it back down below that volume. But that's what I'll be looking for on earnings. Other than that, it looks like a fantastic gap. Not really much holding it back for today. So probably my favorite gap. It is a retest, so maybe want to pause at open. But that's also a mistake because this market, if you pause at open, it just shoots up $10, and then you're like, wait. So be careful. You got Hood is also just non-stop bullish. This one I think is a little bit more choppy today. Obviously, we could break through supports and resistance, and we'll see what this market actually wants to lead to. But a pullback would be if you get as close as possible to 105.62. I don't think I mind missing this one if it doesn't pull back. You have your resistance at 107.54. I think that's a really good spot off of that 105.71 zone. I'm not, if we could get past that, your next target, and I think this is probably a doable one for today if the market just goes crazy, is 109.66. My guess is with everything kind of retesting, it's up a lot. We did pull back on the SPY a little bit after hours or pre-market. I don't know if that's enough, but if we get down to some of those retest spots, today could be a little choppier, sell, melt, slow melt day, and then tomorrow you see the actual follow through from it because this market was up a decent amount. Off that EU deal, I thought the market was actually going to be a little bit higher. So we saw some tighter ranges kind of coming in toward the end of last week in terms of trading. And I thought the gap up would have been a lot bigger of a deal on that EU deal. So it's still not bad, but you got Nvidia is still looking good. Probably wants all-time highs today. Again, this is a gap and go in the sense that it's a red candle. However, kind of just an inside day. I think, and then we're inside day open today. I don't know if I'd be buying this when it opened. I'd prefer to see the retest 173.94, but I think we most likely probably see another all-time high. So I think we go higher from here. Looks like it wants to go higher. But yeah, trying to get it as close as possible, 173.94, I think would be your better spot to try to hit that one. Hims, Hims, we got. Mm, yeah, we go higher from here. I think most likely we end up testing the 63.80. I don't know about today. I think today's go crazy level is about $60.64. But Hims is one of those ones that could go nuts. Same thing as Nvidia. Inside day, 2 days of resting after a monster candle. I think your retest spot on this one, even though it's slightly gap and go, I think we get a retest into this one or into this 57.85 zone. If it doesn't do that, or we get a smaller pullback than expected, your first target on this one, 59.40. We've been there already on Friday. I think we could break that out. And then, yeah, maybe we look for like 60-60. Incredible day. Maybe today's the day we get it. I don't think we get up to the 63.76 today. I think a crazy day. We have some 1, 2, 3, 4 days of volume. I think we're looking at like 61.97 is your high today. If this thing really, really wants to go bullish. But I think that's going to be, if anything, later in the day. So I think we get that pullback first, see how we hold that support, and then we kind of run from there. One of the meme stocks that has been running lately. Which one? Hims? I think every stock has been running forever. Just all the memes been going crazy. But yeah, no, this one's had a nice. And again, this was based on some news. You got some crazy gap down. We're well above all that volume. We actually did a double bottom off of it. So on a technical basis, yeah, it looks really good. Probably eventually wants all-time highs, but before that, got a couple resistance. I'll get this one higher. Let's see how this one opens. Again, not as much room as TTD on it, but still really, really interesting. Let's see. We got SPX is at the 6600. Nike. Yep. Take a look at Nike. They do have, or they did have earnings. They got an upgrade from JP Morgan today. So JP Morgan comes in as overweight on Nike. We had a big, big resistance from Lux Algo 77.03, double topped at that resistance. This upgrade, this overweight, pushes them higher than that. We've obviously, this one I think is going to be tricky today. I would really like to be buying this one on a pullback to $77. I'm not even sure we get there today. I might need like 2 days of pullback on this one. Why does that seem so far? But a really good gap nonetheless. I think from here, longer term picture, I think we probably continue to go bullish until at least the next earnings or maybe some tariff news. We're so close, and I think the bear is going to want to keep it back from here. You got 97.11 on this one. Let's just call it. Let's go a little higher. Nah, I can't. Yeah, 97.11. The next stop from there would take you to like 81.97, but just a lot less volume there. I think eventually we break that out, and I think you're looking for maybe about 94.52. So longer term, I think there's a really good gap. I think if you could position your way into a swing position trade, I think this one does look pretty decent to continue to go forward. I think the closest you can get to 77.12, 77.11 would be your entry for today. I think it's going to be a little tricky. It's a big gap for Nike. And I think some bears probably want to hold us back before we start to just straight run up. You're also opening to a little resistance. Look for first support, maybe 78.36 today. But really good gap. I mean, if it goes if it opens, it goes completely bullish. It is what it is. But I'd want to see if I can get that pullback first. Daniel says, "What bears? I thought they died. They're on vacation. They took the summer off." Yeah, they did a lot of work in April, so I think they overworked themselves and they got a little tired. You got Oxy, uh, Oxy. This is also another tricky one. We need a JP Morgan upgrade, I think, on Oxy to get going again. We got August 6th. We got their earnings, so maybe. But yeah, good move on this one. Also, one, two, three, four green days in a row. Let's see where that volume candle is. That's going to come from this day, so we're well above that VPOC, so that would keep me bullish. The next big one is from this day, and we are well above that one. The next one, so bigger targets on this one, I think takes us up to about 46.25. Before we get to that, you do have, I think for today, 45.47. You're going to have 45.77. Pullback spot. I would like to see 45.13 holds. I don't really think I want to see after this gap that we put in today. I don't think I really want to see a pullback to 44.83. So I'd be okay trying it at 45.13 to buy it. But I think you're limited on range unless something crazy happens during the day. But I think you're going to get caught up in some of the resistance that's a little bit above you, curbing your profits. Mara might be interesting. Yep, Mara after Bitcoin's pretty interesting day on Thursday. I mean Thursday. I'm just saying random days now. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Sunday. Sunday had a good day for Bitcoin. You on the January 2nd day, it was a good day. You got Mara with a good gap up. Um, Small pullback I would appreciate. But look at this one in a swing trade basis as well. If we could hold back, and I think if we could get even a retest for today down to 1747, again, not sure if that happens, but if it does, I think that's the market giving us a good gift for both day trades and swing trades at that level. So I'd be very, very interested to watch this one. Again, we might get the pullback in Bitcoin for today, but Mara does look very interesting. And again, it has uh, some resistance. You got resistance all the way back to 1773. You got some at 1794. After that, you've really got nothing to $19. So you got two resistance, and they're old ones. They're ones that we've kind of had to deal with before. We've messed with them. So they might interact a little bit today. I think eventually we break through and we're back to $19 or more. So I think that was a decent little looking gap today, especially on a pullback if we get it. Just AMD might as well just be a meme stock at this point. Just keeps going. Yep, another really, really good looking gap on AMD. Um, we're facing a potential little double top at 171.48. So again, we're not too far away from there. You've had a big massive run into this. However, lots of volume from my Lux Algo, at least somewhere down at this 166.14. So this gap does take us above it. I think that would probably be a very, very interesting retest spot for longer term, and we'll see if we keep going. Next spot from here in terms of volume is 177.94. And then your last hope for the Bears, 181.03, and then we're just kind of off to the races, probably back to those all-time highs, or at least in this 210 zone. So really good gap, I think could set us up for the long term. Again, a lot of these things I'm looking at, the market makers doing a lot of work today at open. But a lot of retest gaps wouldn't be if everyone's coming in euphorically happy with bulls and just that might I don't know, it might be a little tougher day. We might get the smaller trading range that we might not expect. And then tomorrow after we just kind of depress everybody like oh no that gap held or then I think maybe we could run again. And then again we have a big week with news coming out too. So we'll see. But really good gap. I think that sets us up to go much higher from here. Um, Look for 167.02 if we get that pullback if this market would like to. Could somebody sell anything? Could just one of you guys? Because could you sell one share or something so we get a little pullback started? We got pins. This one's gonna be frustrating for me. Yeah. Look for your support on this one, somewhere around 37.77. Really good location that we're opening, so small high wave might get you there. 38.22 would be a very interesting resistance on this one, although we did hit this one once. Maybe we could break out. Longer term, it looks bullish. Day trading wise, it's usually a very frustrating stock to, unless you catch one of those big days. I don't know which day those, I don't know when the big days come in. So you just chop around here, and then all of a sudden you're up another $5 randomly. But it looks good. I probably want to be more bullish and bearish on pins. Day trade wise, I just get too frustrated. I'm just like, stop it. SMCI, let's take a look at that one. SMCI looks pretty good. Again, same situation. Retest gap. Not really much holding you back. I think maybe this retest. Well, this spot would be 54.17. That was a good close that we had. So look for about 54.17 as your first spot. Otherwise, if that doesn't hold, I'd be looking for 53.42. I'd want to be bullish on this one. I don't really see anything holding us back till about 59.44. So down comes down to timing and how we could get into this thing safely. And I'd have to get probably a slightly better risk reward than me just buying this at open for now. But well, looks really good. The other one, Oracle, we could take a look at too, has been kind of been lumping in with the Nvidias of the world, the AMDs of the world. This one's been making really good progress lately, up to 246. You have another one where you're breaking through good resistance. So watch 246.08. You will have a little bit of resistance, 249.71 if we get through that. We keep going, and then a full-on retest of this would be 245.27. We'll see how that wants to hold. Tesla kind of breaking down on the other screen. B. John wants to take a look at this one as well. Um, I don't. This is like the only one I don't really love the opening yet. The only positive on Tesla right now is we've already definitely retested, and only problem is we broke through. See what this one actually wants to open. Maybe that current candle on a 5 minute time frame that would get you in about, if you take the break of that, you're getting in about 320.07, which would be higher than this. So watch this level, 318.43. Right now, even though Tesla's pulling back, I don't think I want to touch this one bullish yet. Maybe if we get down back to this like 315.17 zone, I'd be more of a willing participant if Tesla wants to do a bull run. TEM. TEM, this one looks good. Probably watch for high wave candle. Technically, your retest is probably about 63.93. No, I could change that. If you get a pullback, look for 64.54. Let's see if that holds. That's a really good one. And then targets 66.01, so you have some room. If we could break through that, you might see like 66.77 for today. But yeah, looks really good. Nice breakout. 2 days consolidation, small pullback, and I think TEM might be a contender for today as well. Let's get that one up there as well. Perfect. Let's see what else we got. Joby. Joby could be interesting. There was a lot of money coming from the EU into US defense. So Archer, Joby, those guys might be interesting. Very good gap on Joby. One to watch for sure. I think we're already at all-time highs at a massive move. So I think it wants to go higher from here, though. So I've got no levels to the higher side. Other than that, you guys are incredible. That is the morning bell. Alert's starting to go off already. This is going to get wild. Let's see what happens today. You guys are awesome. And I'll catch you tomorrow. Later, guys.